Hello, hello. This is part 31 of a 100-part series, 100 days answering questions about fatherhood as a first-time father. And today's question is a good one. What have I learned about masculinity since becoming a dad? And I think society paints this picture of strict gender roles for the maternal and paternal sides of parenting. What I've learned since becoming a dad is that those roles are much less rigid than you think. I take care of Francis all Tuesday and Friday when he's not in daycare. That might be perceived as a maternal role, as something that the mom is supposed to do. But ultimately, my wife is the breadwinner. She makes significantly more money than I do. And rather than trying to rely solely on my income so that she can assume the role of the maternal stay-at-home parent, we work within the guidelines that we can, and we made the most logical decision for me to take on more of that role, which doesn't make me feel less of a man, it just makes me feel more of a parent. So, what I've learned about masculinity is that it can kind of be a toxic force to propagate this idea that we have to do things a certain way. And I think that can be the same with femininity too, you know? Of course, how society has painted those roles has made it like so much more of like an argumentative and us versus them like component to society. But look, I know that I'm a man and certain things that I do are very man coded, right? And I'm all right with that. But what I don't want is for Francis to lose out on an opportunity to connect with me or my wife because we're too caught up in assuming the roles that society has decided for us. I think you can be a healthy, strong, supportive father that also maybe doesn't make as much as your wife, or a job that requires them to lift heavy objects or kill things, right? It's just a fact of the matter. So, to answer the question, what have I learned about masculinity since becoming a dad? I know that down the road there's going to be certain things that are required of me as a dad when raising a son, whether it's teaching him how to treat women correctly or maybe taking on a more physical role when it comes to wrestling and getting outside and staying active. But I also know that a lot of the masculine feminine construct is just that. It's just a construct that we enforce through society. And in my own life, I'm not going to allow those rigid guidelines to force me or my wife to do or say or act a certain way. We are going to do what works best for us, and I think so far it's been going great. So, this has been part 31 of a 100-part series, and I will see you in the next one.